I'm gonna show you a nice trick to take the boredom out of your delays and make them a cool featured element that can fill a mix that has a lot of space. Let's take a look. Hello everyone and welcome back to MixBuzz TV mixing and mastering tutorials on YouTube. First thing first, join us on Facebook and Twitter if you haven't already. Stay in touch with us, drop us a line, ask questions, help the channel grow and take part in our new series called Ask About the Mix, our new Q&A format on the channel. All the info in this video linked here and link in the info box down below as well. But let's get to the trick of the day. I used this mix in previous videos and I received many questions about the delay heard on the guitar track. This song is an acoustic cover which you'll recognize immediately, but with the track being just acoustic guitar and vocals, I wanted to fill it out a bit because the arrangement was otherwise a little too sparse. Plus, I had a lot of space to play with effects, and so I did. And this idea came to me right away when I listened to the raw track. So it's something I knew I wanted to do even before starting the mix. The effect is on the guitar for this mix, but I use this a lot for vocals in other mixes and snares and loops. As usual, take the concept and experiment with it. So let's hear the mix really quick.
I'm blaming on my ADD, baby. Settle. Settle. Settle.
You can hear this ever-moving modulating delay going on the snare-like sound of the guitar that really gives a track a spacey, wider-than-life feeling. The delay is only on the snap, the snare-like percussive portion of the guitar, creating something similar to a rhythmic loop. So let's take a look really quick at what we have track-wise for the guitar. The tracks are all these purple ones, but originally I only had 3: guitar DI, guitar mono mic, and guitar stereo pair. I then had to copy these tracks several times for different processing and different purposes. I'm not going to show you this right now. Actually, I already had in a previous video the one with the 808 and the triggers. But yeah, so all the main guitar tracks are summed and bussed to stereo aux, my guitar bus, for processing, and then I sent this bus out to my stereo aux called delay guitars. And here is where with the processing I had to first extract and isolate the snare-like part, the percussive part, because I wanted the delay only to apply to that. So let's mute all the vocals, which are a lot, and just play the guitar so we can hear the delay better. Let's solo it. Turn up the volume. So you can hear this delay alone creates a sort of rhythmic loop that really fills out the song, and the arrangement is a simple trick, but in a sparse arrangement like this, it makes a hell of a difference. And like I said, this is something I envisioned right away when I listened to the raw tracks. So the first thing that I had to do in order to create this delay was to isolate the snare part, the snare-like sound in the guitar part, because I didn't have that isolated. I had to do it here in this bus before hitting the delay, because what is being sent to this delay guitar bus is the whole stereo summing guitar bus. In fact, if I bypass all these plugins in the delay, you will hear the whole guitar part playing. So this right now would be nothing but a double of the guitar bus. So first thing I had to do was isolating the snare-like sound. The SSL is the first processing, but there's nothing going on. It's just for the color. If you follow me, you know I do that. And the second plugin, the FabFilter Pro G, is what allowed me to isolate the snare-like sound on the guitar. Let's hear it with. Without. Okay, this was fairly easy. Why? Because the snare-like sound has a very tall transient. So setting the gate just to open when that particular sound hits is fairly easy. The only thing I had to do other than setting my threshold right was using the internal sidechain. As you can see here, the sidechain is set to internal, and I just adjusted the band that the gate is listening to. Let's audition. While if the bandwidth was all the way open, see, even the kick and the rest of the melody would trigger the gate, but not in this case, because the internal sidechain is focused only on this portion of frequency where the snare-like sound is, okay? You can see the other settings, no reason to go into detail. The next processing was the delay itself. I used just an H delay, easy to set up, sound great. And as you can see, it's set in millisecond. So I set this up by ear because the track is not played on a click track, so I couldn't sync it to the host. And it's ping-ponging all the way dry with filters on, and this is the delay. The next processing is the L1 limiter, and what I wanted to do with this was to decrease the difference in level between the first repetitions, the first delays, and the tail, and also to smooth out the attack of the first repetition and the first delays. And as you can see, I went pretty heavy-handed with this. Without. You can hear the first delay is really squashed. And the tail is closer dynamic range wise. So it was to even it out a bit, well, a lot. And then our meta filter. Now I use this one because I happen to like it, but you can use any auto filter or any auto modulation plugin or effect for your delays. Just think about it. It's the concept that is important. Instead of the boring repetitions all the same through all the song, especially in a slow song like this that has a lot of space, it's nice to hear the delay moving, whether it's random, whether it's synced. You can see my settings, and the difference is pretty major. Without. With. Now, one thing to notice is I didn't just open up a preset and use that. I started from a preset, I tweaked the parameters the way I want it, and then, as you can see here, from this automation line, I automated one of the parameter, in this case the frequency, so that the modulation wasn't always the same through all the song. It goes up and down. Okay, is random, and to do it, I didn't do it by hand, but I used, as you can see, the random pen tool here that allows you to do this and go really crazy with it. So it's fairly easy and fast to do something like this. But it's important. It makes a difference. The frequency of the modulation changes. It makes it way more interesting. And then the next thing was the reverb. You know, if you follow me, that I don't like dry ass delays. I need to put them in some space somehow. In this case, you can see my settings. It's extremely simple, easy reverb. Makes a lot of difference though. Without. With. Just a medium room. Listen what a massive difference it makes with where we perceive the delay is. Here is right in your face. It sounds so much wider and bigger. The last one is a simple EQ, Pro Tools stock EQ, just to tailor the sound of the delay to fit the song. That's it. You can see my settings. There's nothing special about it. Let's hear again the song with the delay on. Without. With. Let's hear it with the vocals really quick.
This is how I show my love. I made it in my
Without.
mind because I blame it on my ADD, baby.
So a simple delay on one element and in a sparse arrangement like this makes a hell of a difference. Like I said, it sounds a lot like a loop or something like that, but it's way more organic. It feels, I don't know, to me it feels better because it's actually part of the guitar performance. And probably some of you will say, well, there are delays that do this by themselves. You don't need to do all this shit. And yes, there are. You just open it up and use a preset. But what the hell is the point in doing so? I think the worst enemy of a mixing engineer is laziness. And there is a fine line between efficiency and laziness. Of course, you don't have to take the long route for everything, otherwise you will never finish a mix. But when it's time to be creative, don't be lazy. When it's time to do technical stuff, yes, absolutely. Use the tools that gives you the result as quick as possible, because that's not a point in which you want to waste time. You know, the technical stuff, bussing or summing, or do all the technical things that you have to do on a mix. Yes, absolutely. In that moment, use anything that makes your life easier and quicker. But when it's time to be creative, don't be lazy. It blunts your potential to grow. It blunts your potential to improve as a mixing engineer. On top of that, this is something I do all my mixes. I rarely use pre-made effects. I always make effects from scratch, which is time consuming and it's a lot of work, but it makes every mix unique. And most likely nobody else is gonna have that exact same sound, which I think it's good. I mean, it's also good to hear familiar sounds, and pop teaches all what that means. But it's also important to have your own signature sound, whether it's a delay, a drum sound, a sample for a snare. Create your own. When it's time to be creative, don't be lazy. Okay, this is just my advice. Then, of course, take it or leave it. But if you stayed with me up to this point, thank you for watching. If you like the video, please don't forget to click the like button. It's important. Let me know what you think about this trick in the comment down below. Join us on Facebook and Twitter, and support MixBuzz TV by sharing the videos on social medias, forums, blogs, personal pages. Subscribe if you haven't already, and see you next time.